Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. So my talk here today in 20 minutes that hopefully will go by really quickly is on hacking education, specifically practical skills to help you build your product and startup. Quickly, I'm going to go over some introductions and also speak a bit more about General Assembly. While it's not here in Turkey yet, I think there's a lot you can learn from these types of practical education organizations. And then kind of share a bit more about the landscape of education today, what's changed, why you should care, and then dive into lots of resources if you want to get started learning online or offline in these digital skills. So, quick hellos first. I'm thrilled to be here. Can I ask you some questions? Who here is an entrepreneur with a company startup right now? Cool. Who wants to, in their lifetime, found a company, be an entrepreneur? You can keep your hands raised if you already had that. Who knows how to code? Quite a few of you. Who's a designer? Who has a marketing degree? Did you learn social media marketing or growth hacking in school? Okay. Now the hands have dropped. Okay, I'll introduce myself. Again, I'm Kalina. I currently live in Hong Kong, and why I'm here with you today is until I left last month for my own company, I was managing General Assembly's growth in Asia, specifically building up the Hong Kong campus and looking at other operations. You can connect with me these ways. My slides will be on Twitter, so just follow me, and I'll post them on SlideShare. A quick intro about General Assembly. It's an education company founded 4 years ago in New York City. It started as a co-working space. You'll see kind of a trend theme through my talk that community is really, really important to learning practical skills. Started as a co-working space and then realized that there was a huge need amongst entrepreneurs and startups for information sharing at the edge, things that weren't available in traditional education or even on the job. Things were moving too quickly in the tech age. And it since changed paths to focus exclusively on providing education and has since expanded to 14 campuses worldwide. And the focus here is on practical education for the modern economy, entrepreneurs, career changers, and also people in corporate roles who need to know digital skills. So almost everyone in the world right now. And again, why might this be relevant to you sitting here in Antalya or coming in from somewhere else in Europe today? I believe that the core values of General Assembly and institutions like it are really key to understand, and if you get these, it'll allow you to find or create ways in your own communities to start learning, start making. One thing, people first. A kind of trademark of education opportunities available today is that it favors individual paths. It's not like 50 years ago where it was very clear what you wanted to do if you wanted to have a profession in law or medicine and succeed in society. You went to one of those professional schools and then you went along that set path. Entrepreneurship right now, by nature, doesn't have that set path. And so it's up to you as an individual to take charge and make your education and invest in yourself, and also very much about building the community around you, taking from it, and also giving back. One of the second central tenet is learning by doing, being project-based, hands-on. In Hong Kong, when General Assembly started, this was an enormous cultural shock change. People wanted to be the boss. they said, why do I need to learn how to code? I can outsource it. There's lots of people who can do this. There was kind of this aversion to being hands-on, even though they were technically, intellectually very apt. And I see this changing, and it's kind of just a general message. Just get started, dig in, get your hands dirty. You learn so much more that way. And finally, journey over destination. It's about celebrating a culture where failure is necessary, and failure shouldn't necessarily be celebrated, but you want to accept that that is a possibility and go against the odds, be the unicorn, and if you do fail, learn from your mistakes, get up there and do it again, and that's how you'll reach the road. So again, you know, in being an entrepreneur, the mindset is super important, and by definition, it's on the job because your startup is doing something new, the path isn't laid out, and you need to fake it till you make it. You know, ask for the money, be ultra confident on the outside. I would say that on the inside, you also need to be humble about what you don't know, and then actively take steps to correct that. So a bit here, I'd like to touch on the scope and context of education today. Why are we here? A huge problem with education today is that there's high demand for certain digital skills, and traditional education systems have, to some extent, failed or not changed quickly enough to adapt to this. This talk is about practical education for entrepreneurs and the landscape of what's available. What's not in scope? I love education, lifelong curious, big believer in education and traditional education alongside these kind of hacks and changes. So this isn't a siren call to drop out of school or not pursue a PhD if you're passionate about a subject. It's more about providing more options and sort of shining the light onto what else is there and empowering individuals and entrepreneurs to make their own decisions about what educational paths are right for them. So much more practical education this is a reality check for the world. So diving into a lot of text here, I do not advise making PowerPoint slides like this. The reason I did it is so that I can share them online afterwards and you can quickly click the links to things. But here goes with my 13 commands, and take them just as my humble advice or opinion. First off, with learning. Like anything you do, you should be values-driven about it. I think Simon Sinek's TED Talk on why coming first, he specifically digs into kind of how Apple succeeds in being values-driven as a company as compared to any other commoditized appliance seller or distributor. Second, you probably need a prod to just get started. It's scary if you don't know something to take that first step, or similarly, if you're trying to write something, trying to create something, you have high expectations to make that first draft, to push that product onto the Apple Store. That takes a lot of courage, and this is kind of the call out there to that 80% today is always better than 90% tomorrow. Just get it out there, and then you can revise. For this, I've taken 2 pieces of inspiration from writers, because I think that's immediately applicable to all creative arts. John McPhee, who's an American creative nonfiction writer, has an excellent New Yorker article called Draft Number 4 on defeating writer's block. And Ira Glass of This American Life has a 1-minute video on kind of inspiration for those who have a great eye for changing the world, for being creative, but are getting frustrated with their first attempts to create something, make something. Generally, for entrepreneurship and digital skills, there's kind of 3 core areas here. One in technology, one in business, and one in design. I'm kind of grouping everything related to leadership and all of that into business. And design is not just graphic design, but also user experience pathways, that such. And something like digital marketing would kind of be at the intersection of technology and the business side. So next up, 4. This is an example of the continuum of online classes that are available. Josh Ellman at the bottom, it's growth hacking slide decks. There's a lot of information, but it's not organized in a course. It's more pick and choose bits and odds. Going up, Simon Sinek breaks down how to present ideas that inspire action. It's on Skillshare, which is a great resource for kind of bite-sized classes. This one's 33 minutes broken down with a clear end product, but it's just that, 33 minutes of video and a lesson without someone to talk to at the end. Sam Altman with Stanford recorded a series of 20 lectures on how to start a startup. He's since been expanding it, but that's a fantastic resource for kind of a longer-term overview and scope of what he believes to be great resources, things to keep in mind, and practical advice. You have everything up to Google having created a whole series of courses, obviously with Google AdWords being up front and center, at their Analytics Academy. With courses that end in accreditation. And so you see kind of on this continuum, there's everything from the vast expanse of information available on the World Wide Web, where you need to pick and choose and decide for yourself, up to things that are starting to imitate traditional education with accreditation at the end and some kind of certificate that you can share on to others and assessments. I'm going to dive a bit into resources specifically to learn how to code, because that's kind of the reason that I first joined General Assembly, was to launch their immersive programs in Asia. Here are 5 tracks to start to learn to code for free. Dash, which is created by General Assembly, is a beautiful way to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and it's all project-based. Organizations, and I believe you have them here in Turkey, like Hour of Code and Rails Girls, are fantastic ways to build a community around learning how to code, as well as passing on the gift with others if you yourself are a programmer. And then, of course, Khan Academy, which is well known for having kind of generated the mission of education being available to all. Some deep dives. So one issue that that first wave of MOOCs and other free online platforms generated was that people realized that it's great for that one kid who's entirely self-motivated and who will stay up until 3 a.m. every night and without human contact, dive through all the material, graduate from the courses, and then apply it immediately to a business. Life isn't really like that. Over 90% of online courses that are started aren't finished. And institutions like General Assembly have taken some of the principles of online education, being able to distribute content widely, and then honed in on the fact that in-person education and having mentors, having practitioners and kind of gurus through the process of learning is actually really critical. So here's kind of deep dive courses into coding, and these range from 8 to 13 weeks, most with the promise of taking in amateurs, beginners, and bringing you out as proficient entry-level developers. And this type of education is not just for coding, it's also for data analytics, sales and business development, for entrepreneurship, and it's a great way to kind of get started very quickly and efficiently over learning on your own online. 7 days a week, make. This is just one link, but Product Hunt is a great way if you're building digital products and trying to understand your competitive landscape, or trying to see where you need to fill a niche, or maybe think about what feature to develop next to kind of dive into this whole space. If you haven't already looked at it, check it out. It's a fantastic resource for everyone. More platforms, 8 of them, to be specific, to learn online. You've probably heard of the huge ones, Coursera, which has Stanford, among other universities, courses online, edX, which Harvard and MIT started together, and Udacity, which has much more of a corporate slant. Companies like Facebook will offer kind of mini degree programs. And then there's a whole host of others. Lynda and Treehouse are subscription-based learning platforms. So you pay monthly and then hopefully log in and learn a lot every month. Code School, similarly, it's gamified for learning to code and constantly refreshes with the latest web languages. Block.io is similar to the courses 2 pages back, but it's entirely online as an immersive code school. Blogs and podcasts. Quickly here on the left, blogs. Just to point out, if you're reading anything on the web about startups and entrepreneurship, at some point you will be redirected to one of Paul Graham's essays. So just bookmark it and start reading. Co-Elevate was actually suggested to me by Michael Gear, who will be speaking in a bit. And it's specifically detailed and applicable essays on that concept of user acquisition, virality, growth hacking, which is so, so vital to a startup. This Week in Startups is a good general overview. Use it, listen to it on your commute. And Reboot, in contrast, is kind of more about the life and hurdles around managing a team and dealing with failure and those types of things, as opposed to practical skills, but nonetheless, really critical to and hopefully inspiring to listen to. Okay, 10 hacks to get things done. Some of what you need to learn as an entrepreneur is not just to code or how to do this and that with Google AdWords, but it's the fact that there's a million things to do, you're not quite sure what to prioritize, someone's going to get upset if you don't respond to the email, and there's not a clear solution, and you're probably not going to sleep. So take it upon yourself to create some systems to make your life more efficient. Evernote, Intro, Slack for team communication. One perk here, I've seen a lot of app pitches in the past few days about ways to shift information between your laptop or desktop and your mobile phone, links, snippets, photos, whatever. Slackbot within Slack is a great way to do that and kind of combine it within your workflow. Outlook app, Microsoft bought Acompli. Yes, that's built by Microsoft, but it's actually really good. Hacking your typing, text expander for snippets of text. So you can just put in like a 3-letter code and then out pops a paragraph, saving you time. And all the Gmail shortcuts so you can be a bit of a ninja. Here are some links, see them later, on how to email, getting people to say yes, and the whole theory of getting things done, as well as scheduling yourself. Lots of books, read some stuff. And kind of a fun thing here, personality. If you know your personality type, and it's kind of scary for some people to dive into that, you can then more effectively work with others, know where you are great and efficient, and where you might need to or should hire someone else. how to approach someone for investment or how to handle a difficult conversation. Understand what makes you tick and what makes other people tick, because so much of working on a startup team and being an entrepreneur is kind of dependent on what you bring and what your team brings to the table. And then to close out the 13 commands, some do-it-yourselves, things, just a sort of list of things to try, and then for once you then hire the designer, hire the engineer, hire your marketing person, you can forever be grateful of the effort and kind of insights that they're pulling in, because you at least tried it yourself. So, thank you very much. And to kind of generally wrap up here, just get started. It's not hard once you've taken that first step to try to learn yourself. The reasons to take steps towards a practical education, even if you think that eventually you'll be the one managing the team and not diving into the technical nitty-gritty, is because these digital skills give you confidence. They allow you to make better decisions. They probably will save you some money in the short term as well as the long term. They give you power over those people likely sitting at the other side of the table who don't have the digital skills. And it's empowering to be a creator. Thank you.